Good morning, members, staff, community, and community leaders. This morning, we are gathered here today because the Bahamas government says it will support undocumented migrants who survived the passage of Hurricane Dorian on September 1st and are now living in shelters. I would like to invite our first speaker this morning, Marlene Bastien, Family Action Network Movement's Executive Director.
Good morning. This morning we woke up with very bad news. It was like a bucket of ice water falling onto our head, because we read that the Bahamian government, after promising not to deport any refugee, any survivors of Hurricane Dorian, made the decision yesterday to after identifying immigrants in shelters, made the decision to deport them. I just spoke with someone who was deported to the Bahamas when she was 12 years old and who's now a US citizen, who's assisting the many Bahamian refugees who came to the US after the hurricane. She told me that she received a picture of a boat that is already posted on Bahamian waters to deport immigrants to Haiti. We believe that it is unconscionable for the Bahamian government to plan to deport people after they've gone through such a horrible, tragic crisis. We do have a Bahamian citizen who came to the US after Dorian, whose wife perished during the hurricane. Her body has not even been found yet. As we speak, we have thousands and thousands of folks who are still unaccounted for. The people are traumatized. This is no time for the Bahamas government to plan to deport people. We understand that this is a country of laws, and then they make their own laws and they can implement them the way they wish. But our position is, now is not the time. We also understand that they are targeting Haitian immigrants, and we know that as we speak, Haiti is at a standstill. Haiti is going through one of the worst political crises in its history, where nothing is moving. People are being killed, massacres are being committed, all over the country. Young men and women are being targeted just because they are organizing, just because they are asking for change, for a better life for themselves and their families in Haiti. This is not the time to deport people to Haiti. This is not the time to target these immigrants who were promised. The Bahamian government promised not to do this. Our own Congressman Frederica Wilson just came back from the Bahamas. When I called the office today, they said I cannot believe it. They cannot believe it because they promised her that no one was going to be targeted from the shelters. No one was going to be deported. So we are deeply, deeply concerned, gravely concerned about that. And later, you will hear from a husband who's still grieving his wife, whose body has not even been found. So we are asking the Bahamian government to put a moratorium on all deportations, just like we did on September 10th, after we heard that Haitian refugees were being denied shelter, they were being denied food, they were being denied assistance after Dorian. We did send a letter to Prime Minister Menes to stop all deportations, to put a moratorium on all deportations, and we were promised that they would do so. So this news is really disappointing to us. And now I'm going to call Melissa Tavares, who is representing Florida Immigrant Coalition, one of our partners who have been, raising their voices against what's going on in the Bahamas. Melissa.
Thank you very much, Marlene. Buenos días, mi nombre es Melissa Taveras y vengo en representación de la Coalición de Inmigrantes de la Florida. Estamos de acuerdo con FAM, con Family Action Network Movement, en que hay que hacerle un llamado al gobierno de Bahamas de que entienda que esto es una crisis humanitaria. Necesitamos proteger a nuestros hermanos inmigrantes que están en esta isla, pero también hacemos un llamado al gobierno estadounidense y a los gobiernos locales que analicen lo que están pasando. Ya sabemos que la semana pasada hubo un anuncio de que se iba a reducir el número de los refugiados que eran permitidos entrar a este país, tan solo días después de esta catástrofe en las Bahamas. Adicionalmente a lo que le estamos pidiendo a este gobierno de las Bahamas, también le pedimos al gobierno estadounidense que maneje esto como la crisis humanitaria que es y que revise el número de refugiados que están entrando y que están permitiendo entrar al país. My name is Melissa Taveras. I am a representative for the Florida Immigrant Coalition, and we do resonate the petition to ask the Bahamian government to manage this as the humanitarian crisis it is. But we're also asking and calling on the government of the United States to review their policies. Just a little less than a week ago, we know that this administration announced that it would be reducing the number of refugees admitted into the United States just days after the catastrophe in the Bahamas. We need to continue our legacy of being a country that welcomes, embraces, and supports immigrants, supports refugees fleeing hardship. And within the days that and in the days and in the aftermath of the Bahamian catastrophe, we call on our government and our local governments to review their refugee policies. Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Steve Forrester of the Institute for Justice and Democracy in Haiti.
This morning in the Washington Post, there's a headline, "In the Bahamas, you can smell more bodies than you can find." There are thousands of people whose lives have been devastated there. It is an absolute obscenity for Bahamian government authorities to consider and to threaten, as they are doing, to deport the helpless victims of Hurricane Dorian, now in shelters, as Bahamian news sources are reporting, just weeks after they said that they would prioritize, just weeks after they said that they would not do so. It leads you to believe, was this a bait and switch? In other words, did they always intend to deport these people? It is an outrage that they would even consider it, given the humanitarian catastrophe, especially a few weeks after having promised precisely not to do so. So we are calling on Senator Rubio and Scott and our entire congressional delegation to raise their voices with the president and the government officials in the Bahamas to say this threat is wrong, and if you want our cooperation in the future, you cannot do this. It is morally wrong and really an outrage. So I want to first say that that's why Marlene, thank you Marlene, has called this press conference, and our government should indeed react and contact the Bahamian authorities with the outrage that is appropriate and that Frederica Wilson apparently expressed to you, but others need to weigh in as well, because if there ever was a time when helpless victims of a catastrophe need assistance, it is certainly now. I want to also agree with the prior speaker's remarks It is also an outrage that our government has slashed refugee admissions again and all of its anti-immigrant policies. But South Florida's elected officials need to weigh in to prevent this threatened outrage, adding insult to injury against victims of Dorian who need humanitarian assistance and not to be deported from shelters where they took shelter after being assured that there was a moratorium on them being deported.
Thank you, Steve. Next up, I would like to invite Jack Lieberman of 350 South Florida.
350 South Florida is affiliated with 350.org, which is the largest climate justice organization in the world. We have chapters in over 100 countries. And I must say, it's ironic that a little over a month ago, 350 lended our name to a statement that was issued here, right here, with FAM and the leadership, asking for the U.S. to grant TPS to Bahamian refugees, which of course would have included Haitians that were resident in the Bahamas. We were proud and very happy to call out for justice for our Bahamian brothers and sisters. And it leaves a bitter taste now today. It's the ultimate irony that a month later, we see the Bahamian government basically cloning the very policies, racist policies of the Trump administration that we were condemning, using a catastrophe caused by climate change to victimize people, some of whom have lived in the Bahamas for years, who have children there, who have had jobs, probably businesses, and the hurricane is being used as an excuse to victimize and deport them. Now, we all know how Haiti has also been ravaged by climate change, so that makes it, as far as our mission goes, and we are advocates for climate justice, which means that we seek justice for the victims of global warming, because they're really not responsible for what's going on. It's the agribusiness, the petroleum companies, fossil fuels that cause this crisis, and once again, poor people are being forced to suffer. The U.S. should be opening its doors, not only to Bahamians, but also to Haitians. And we need to reverse the racist policies of the Trump administration. I'm going to be contacting our national office and international office to issue a call to chapters around the world to speak out and to contact the Bahamian outrageous action that they're threatening to take. An attack on one is an attack on all. And if we allow Haitians to be attacked, then we have no justification to protest when the American government victimizes Bahamians who want justice here following the hurricane. So we stand united with our Bahamian and Haitian brothers and sisters and call for the Bahamian government to stop these outrageous acts of victimizing Haitian refugees.
I would next like to invite up Vincent Maxius, Hurricane Dorian survivor.
And by the way, as I said, the body of his wife has yet to be recovered. And she's one of many who disappeared and whose bodies have not been found. Good morning. My wife, my wife has disappeared, and so far her body has not been found. It's been a month and 3 days. I have not heard anything.
Bon, kon yal mette nan reunion sa, nou kapab explike tout moun Bahamas yo. Alors, le yo di ay nan shelta, se pi ay nan shelta, nou ay ale nan kay moun, ki yo panse yo kay yo soli. Bon, kon yal la mwen deti moun isi. E yo l'ekol, e se madame nan ki tout a yo, e pi kon yal madame nan moun la travay anko.
I have 2 children, and my wife was the one helping me. Now she's no longer around, and then she was my bedrock.
E madame mwen se Nelvise Vincent.
Her name was Nelise Vincent,
E mwen se Maxis Vincent.
and my name is Maxine Vincent. Okay, alright. Qui message dans la même balle de gouvernement Bahamas, ça qui veut dire quoi?
Mesaj nan men bay gouvernement alors faut travay an délai alors même on a pour acheter sous.
The message that I'd like to send to the Bahamian government is that this is not the time, because Haitian immigrants and others, they've lost everything, including the clothes on their back. This is not the time to deport anyone. That's the message I'd like to send. Okay, let's see. So we spoke with the Congressman Wilson's office. She just came from the Bahamas. She was very surprised about the news. She wasn't aware of it. We sent them the information, and then her office is working to see how they can reach out to the Minister Menace to make sure that a moratorium is placed on these deportations. We also reached out to Senator Rubio's office, but we also know that he lost his mom last Friday. We're not sure how fast he can react to this. We're also contacting the office of Senator Rick Scott to make sure that all of our congressional leaders raise their voices against this grave threat pending on the heads of all the immigrants who are really in mourning for the most part, like him, whose family members have not even been identified. And lastly, before I came to this press conference this morning, I contacted and sent an email to the Consul General of the Bahamas, asking her for a meeting, for a second meeting. The first time, right after Dorian, we sent a letter to the Prime Minister, to the Minister Menace, and we also went there to meet with her to make sure that she understands and support our concerns to protect the immigrants who have been really working hard to contribute to the Bahamas for generations. Thank you. Now I'm open to your questions and comments. Oh, I've done it in Creole. Yeah. Creole pour captain de yo. Et bien presque on fait la journée jeudi, c'est parce que nous prenons nouvelle hier soir que le gouvernement Bahamas voulait commencer à déporter immigrants haïtiens. Premièrement, ils dit, ils mettent dans shelter, ils ne peuvent pas déporter eux, et puis tout d'un coup, ils vont bateau qui posté sous port en Nassau, d'après rapport juste avant la presse conférence, et ils identifié, tout le monde identifié qui pas de papier, ils menacé, puis ils déporté en Haïti. Et donc on est pays d'Haïti, je ne dis pas, et il y a des problèmes, pays n'a pas rien bougé, puis on a mouru, puis le massacre a fait dans le pays d'Haïti, pas de possibilité, moyen pour déporter le monde dans le pays d'Haïti, et l'État haïtien n'a pas aucune ressource pour recevoir, parce que le pays est campé, pas de gaz, pas de manger, pas de rien, et on a mouru chaque minute dans le pays, donc ce n'est pas l'heure pour le gouvernement Bahamas d'aller déporter le monde. On a fini pour dire, non d'accord que chaque pays a une loi, every country has their laws. You can implement the loi aux gens où they can implement their laws, whichever way they want. But non dit, la cogna c'est pas l'heure. Now is not the time. Now is not the time. We need the Bahamian government to put a moratorium on all deportations, and then we also need the Trump administration to consider TPS for all Bahamians who are here, because we have close to over 2,500 who came. We don't have a total number, but from our estimate is 2,500. So we need them to be able to work and support their family members there. Thank you so much.
I make one really quick point in the sentence. This gentleman brought up something that we hadn't adequately before, and that is, in addition to the bait and switch, the fact that they promised not to do this, and the outrage of doing it after such a catastrophe, The gentleman brings up the important point. These people have lost everything. Wherever they were living, they may not have the clothes on their back or much more. And now they want to deport people? Really adds insult to injury.
And lastly, I forgot to mention that a lot of people lost their documents. They lost all their papers. And they need financial support to get their papers. They're going to arrest people. They don't know who's documented and not undocumented. People lost everything. So that's another thing that I'd like to point. And then we encourage everyone to make a donation so that we can assist. When we go there next week, we have a delegation that we are preparing to go there to assist in the rebuilding efforts. We hope that you can give a donation to assist those people who lost everything they have, including their papers. Thank you so much.
That's a really superb point you just made.
Yeah.
The fact is that there are all kinds of thousands of Haitians who've been living there for decades.
For generations.
There's a history of you know, the Bahamians, the Haitians not being treated that well often in the Bahamas. Now you've got people who've lost all of their identification. So you would think that if they really go forward with this obscene idea, they're going to catch up and deport some people who are Haitian ethnically, but who have residence.
Yeah.
Or maybe they lost,
Bahamians. Who are Bahamians.
or Bahamians,
That's right.
and they've just lost their papers.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us this morning. We're open to your questions and comments.
I just got one question for you.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of a two-part question. Is it easier if you're from Haiti and you're in the Bahamas? Is it easier to get into the U.S.? If so, could it be that the administration has put pressure on the Bahamas?
That's a consideration because, as we know, the Trump administration has has stopped all Bahamian immigrants who have, for the most part, have the right to come here, have stopped them from coming. Even with visas, they stopped them. So we do not know. That's why we are asking the Bahamian government, the Minister Menace, to take all that into consideration because we don't know what kind of pressure they are under. But the fact is, these people, they are hurting right now.
But when he was confronted, or if he has been confronted, what was his explanation for that?
Well, who, the minister?
Yes.
We don't know. We don't know why he's doing that. Because
doesn't-
at first, he from what I gathered, from the conversation that I've had with the office of Congresswoman Wilson's, she was assured that this would not take place, that folks would not be targeted, folks would not be deported, especially those in shelters, because in times of crisis, natural crisis, people have a basic human right to seek shelter. They have a basic human right to seek shelters. So we don't understand this decision. That's why I said, this decision fell on me like a bucket of cold water. Because I can't understand, I can't wrap my head around the fact that you have people who've lost everything. You still counting your debt. And then you told people they could come and seek shelter. And now you're saying that those who cannot prove that they are documented will be deported to a nation that is at a standstill. That doesn't make any sense to us. That's why we are reaching out. That's why to the Consul General, I sent a message to her. Hopefully we'll be able to meet with her today. We reached out to several of the congressional offices to really find out what's going on. Get to the bottom of this, because we need to get to the bottom of this, because now is not the time. Yes.
Based on like
I'm good.
your contacts there, have deportations already started, or is it right now just a threat?
Well, there's a threat, but I just before I came, Bahamian, Haitian Bahamian, indicated, and she's supposed to send me the picture of the boat that is already posted there. So we have members from the migration office in the Bahamas talking in your packet. If you have a packet, yeah, you have this information. You can hear them, making the threat of deporting. And there is a boat, from what I gathered, just before I came here, there is a boat posted to take people over. This is, I think it's beyond a threat right now. This is real. That's why we are sending a very urgent message to our congressional members to really intervene and stop this, because Haiti, you see what's going on in Haiti right now. If what's going on in Haiti right now was happening in Venezuela or anywhere else, the US would be talking about intervention. But people are being massacred in Haiti right now. Children are being killed. Young organizers are being shot at. And then when the police infiltrate these demonstrations, they shoot to kill. So the country is at a standstill. Nothing is moving. So this is not, I don't understand this decision. That's why we feel that there's an urgency to this.
Right.
That's why I've been on the phone all morning with congressional members. I didn't bother Senator Rubio too much because I know he lost his mother, giving him time to mourn. But I've been reaching out to folks because our leaders, our national leaders, our congressional leaders need to intervene and stop this right now. This is urgent. That's right.
Haiti has been in crisis. It's making national news. A few days ago, it was on the NewsHour in the summary on the NewsHour. There are massive protests. There's nothing hyperbolic. Haiti has been in political crisis as well as the cholera epidemic, etc. But so the idea of deporting people, this is wrong on so many levels. To deport people to Haiti now is wrong.
Yes.
To do it at a time when people have lost their documents, so you're going to be deporting people who have residence or citizenship in the Bahamas, but are of Haitian ethnic background. So that's another reason it's all wrong. A third reason is that they promised not to do this weeks ago. And a fourth reason is that from a humanitarian level, it's such an outrage.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. We appreciate it.